It's 12:01 a.m. here at the Dolphin House. We welcome the midnight ravers tonight from all over the world, wherever you're raving. Thank you for finding us in this psychedelic after-hours clubhouse, which is known as the Dolphin House. And not just anybody can get into the Dolphin House. There are bouncers and a very long line at the door, and it requires a secret password. So somebody, at some point, whispered that password into your ears. Maybe in a dream. And if you're thinking, wait, what am I doing here? I am not a midnight raver. I do not own a single glowing hula hoop, nor have I, as an adult, sucked on a strobing neon pacifier. We just ask, don't be so literal. We are celebrating our inner ravers tonight, which could look like anything. I mean, Bob Marley wrote the song Midnight Raver back in 1973. This predates Molly melting face paint into parachute pant pockets. We're talking grooving to the subtle baseline raving. And as you know, this is the Cats podcast, Porsha and Mars. So they choose the topics, and tonight they want us to get super down with slowing super down. So they insisted, for the well-being of planet Earth, that this be our reggae episode, a tribute to time and its many illusions. So Mars, Porsha, Miami the Dolphin, and myself, your host, Kimmy K, we welcome you to tonight's secret password rave, also known as Dolphins at Midnight, episode 5. It's Cat Chat time, and Porsha and Mars are starting to really hone in on the essence of our global listeners. Like, I know you think that you're listening to us, but meanwhile, they're listening to you through the podcast. And now that they've tuned into your subtle frequency, they're getting kind of concerned about the collective. They say just across the board, humans are maxed out, mostly because they're misunderstanding time. When I asked for more clarity, Porsha said, time is the great yarn ball that unwinds. Going faster doesn't create more because the yarn ball already exists. It only tangles it. And no one has fun when the great yarn ball of time is tangled. So the untangling remedy, or the reballing remedy that they want to offer, which basically is their solution to everything, all of Earth's personal and collective and digestive and political and fertility problems, all these things could be alleviated if we just converted everything into cat time. I know you thought the answer was Bitcoin, but it's cat time. Which means, as you know, doing things 12 to 15 times slower than human time. So for example, making love or eating a burrito, whatever you're doing, you just slow-mo it times 15 and you see how you feel after 15 days, which I know sounds like a commitment, but that just means one day in human time, if you know what I mean. And if that feels like too much, Porsha says that if you just lay down and listen to this single episode, slow down to cat time, you will heal everything that hurts inside. And I know that is a 7.5-hour commitment to laying on the floor, but so is any plant medicine journey that you would fly all the way to Peru for. And this way, you don't even have to barf in a bucket. Mars wants to interject here and clarify that there is one exception here. One thing you never want to do in cat time is barf. Just keep it at its normal speed. Oh, I don't know, that last bit we might have gone too far. And I'm just left wondering, like, God, what are we fucking talking about at this show? Like, what does all this have to do with dreaming? How do all these topics that we're earnestly, diligently researching on the show weave together into one coherent cosmology? This leads us to a new segment of the show tonight called Bits and Pieces Blitz Quizzes! Exclamation point. So this segment is for making sure that you aren't falling behind on all the research that we've done so far on the show. Like, we have steep ecological, educational learning curves here at Dolphins at Midnight. This is Dreamtime PhD shit. So yes, slow down, but also keep up. Okay, so I'm going to read you 10 yes or no questions, and then you're going to answer, listeners, really loud so that we can hear you wherever you are. Bits and Pieces Blitz Quizzes question number 1. Yes or no? There is a mysterious link between dolphins and cats. Yes, great. Strong start. 2. Dolphins sleep with one hemisphere of their brain only. That's a yes. That's a yes. 3. There is a mysterious link between the Miami Dolphins and the LA Lakers. No, don't get carried away. They're just ships in the night. 4. Nothing exists without midnight. Wait, I didn't hear you. Let me repeat that. Nothing exists without midnight. Okay, we're going to come back to that one. 5. Mars is a planet. No, he's a cat. Stay with me. I can feel you guys. Your pupils are dilating. Just don't molly out on me. 6. Mars the cat predates Mars the planet. TBD. Inconclusive research. 7. Time predates dreams. No. Definitive no. 8. One of the anonymous dream callers in season 1 plays for the LA Lakers. Wait, I didn't hear you. You said yes? I think you said yes. 9. You could be one of the anonymous dream callers in season 2. Yes, if you grab a dream raffle ticket or 2 at dolphinsatmidnight.com. They're affordable and pink and fun. Okay, last one. You're doing great. You got 2 right so far. So here is your chance to get a C- instead of a D. Final quiz question, Blitz Cat question. Yes or no? There is a mysterious link between cats and Bitcoin. Yes. Yes. Strong ending. Okay, that was super fun. That was our first Blitz quizzes. Roaring success. The cats are clapping and purring at the same time. The dolphins are out there in the dark doing whatever that they do. And we are listening for that sweet ringtone of the cat phone. Because it's that time. Brave dreamcaller. If you're out there, please give us a call on the cat phone. Hello, dreamer.
Hello.
Welcome to Dolphins at Midnight. I am Kimmy K, your host, and you will be henceforth known as Dreamcaller number 5. Although your identity will remain anonymous, can you tell us what location you're calling from tonight?
I'm calling from Montreal, Canada.
Wow, you're our first Canadian Dreamcaller.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to offer just a few tips on how to share your dream on the show. So number 1, please speak your dream like it's a story in the present tense. For example, I'm walking in a dark field, or I'm driving a purple Ferrari. Second, let the dream speak for itself. There's no need to explain why you picked it or what you think of it or what you think the symbols might mean. Just for now, be as open as you can to a new experience of the dream on tonight's show. And then finally, when you're finished, please indicate the completion of the dream story with the phrase, "I am complete." Those 3 words are like a magical code that create a sort of chain response between myself and the cats and the dolphins. And we'll all know that your dream has been spoken and that the mirroring can begin. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Okay, great. We begin. Please share with us your dream.
I'm being sentenced to life in prison, but I don't know for what, and I'm frantically looking for a way to escape the authorities. I'm in the middle of a city and I'm moving quickly, looking for a way out. I've reached a street lined with a great castle wall that I've seen before and recognize. I'm in Vatican City, but in this dream there's no way out. The street I'm on, which is narrow and has dark cobblestones, leading to a black gate that is closed and impenetrable. And above the gate there are blocks of guard towers. The walls beside me, the gate and the towers are all so tall and imposing I can't even see the sky. Having kind of lost all hope of escape, I'm moving back towards the center of the city, and I find myself in a bustling piazza where a little boy is approaching me, probably no more than 7 or 8 years old. In his hands, he's holding the pages of the first part of my novel. My novel that I've labored on for 10 years and have yet to complete. He's speaking to me in a sad voice. Give this to my father. I'm complete.
Dreamcaller number 5, we hear your dream and we thank you for sharing it. Just to clarify, can you please repeat that last line, what the little boy says?
Give this to my father.
Okay, thanks so much for the clarification. So the cats are going to ask some clarifying questions about the dream. Well, let me be more honest with you. Everyone's wondering about the book. Can you tell us out the gates, what is the name of the book, if you feel comfortable sharing it?
The name that I have right now is Quantum Entanglements.
Now that that's been spoken, Mars would like to know, when the boy says, give this to my father, who is he speaking about? Who would that boy's father be?
Yeah, that's a good question. My first thought was that he's referring to, like, my biological father.
Your biological father?
Yes.
And so would that imply that the boy is a young you in this dream?
I didn't say that he was young me, but he is a young me. He is clearly a young me that has arrived.
All right, Mars wants to know, when you go to the center of the city,
Right.
does it feel like you're returning there or going there for the first time?
That's a great question. I would say that I'm there in that place for the first time.
For the first time?
Yeah.
The cats are kind of freaking out about the pictorial image of the dream. If you think about it topographically, like a map from above, there's this exterior wall of the city, this black gate that's impenetrable. And the center of the city is the thing that contains that young self, the little boy with the sad voice. Even thinking about the self as mandala, getting back to that central point. Not that my cats have studied Jungian psychology, but there is something going on there with the mandala that they're like really stoked on. All right, Porsha would like to know, first thought, best thought, if you had to guess at what you had done to receive the life sentence in prison, what would that guess be?
Some kind of betrayal of like a kind of tribal allegiance, something in me that I've sort of betrayed some kind of family honor of sorts.
And she's wondering, does the sentence feel deserved or accurate, or are you being unjustly accused? Like, did you do the thing or did you not do the thing? What's your sense in the dream?
There's nothing in me in the dream that disputes this.
I see. Great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And have you been to the Vatican?
Yes, I have. In the dream, when I get to the extremity of the city, it was there that I remembered that I'd actually walked that street before. I had recognized being inside the Vatican City.
And you recognize something about the streets or the
walls in particular, a certain corner that I was turning that reminded me of one of the first times I went to Italy. Maybe I was 10, and I was actually probably with my father, and we were just leaving the Vatican. But of course, in the dream, there was no way out, because the time that I'd been there before, you just walk out and leave the Vatican. Nobody's stopping you.
One question from me, Kimmy K here, before Porsha wraps up, is, has your father read any of your novel or other writing that you've done?
He hasn't read any of the novel, nothing in terms of fiction writing. I mean, he has read some other professional writing that's sort of out in the public, but no, none of my fiction he hasn't read.
And is he a writer of any kind?
He's a professor of political science, and he's written history books. So I had a kind of older school upbringing, we could say.
So he might have a sort of historical map of the Vatican or some cities and spaces like that in his repertoire.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great. Last question from Porsha. If you had to guess at what was written on the pages that the little boy is holding, what would be the beginning of the first sentence?
What was written on the pages?
Yes. She's saying, don't think too hard. Just relax and imagine that you're taking those pages from the boy to deliver to the father. And when you look down and you see the page, read as much as you can by speaking it to us now.
In the middle of this life, I find myself in Washington, D.C. I had just finished lunch with the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, and I was walking back to my apartment near DuPont Circle.
Okay, great. And just for clarity, are those the first lines of your novel that we've been speaking about?
Those are the first two lines as they are written now.
Okay, thank you. The dolphins are going to offer their mirror. You can just lay back and close your eyes and sort of take this in almost as if it's a secondary dream in and of itself. Dreamcaller number 5. We are the dolphins. We hear your dream and we offer you our dreaming mirror. We hear the intelligence of your family line. We hear the words that you share their precise sounds and meanings. We share these things amongst our family too. The language, the lineage, the importance of articulation. There are some times, though, when the ocean drops us into silence and all of the pages of the books are empty. We see you with the finished books. We see you with the accomplished life. There is no question in this outcome. But this boy requires your hands to hold the pages that are incomplete, the ink not having touched them yet, and to know this silence is also an achievement, a grace, and a gift. And as you soften into this sound that is holy and that is you, the letters begin to appear, and the sentence which you thought you knew surprises you in the slightest way, and this pivots everything. It is the spoke that shifts the entire city, the axis that spins the narrative, the life, and the momentum of the family. We are the dolphins, and we are complete. Dreamcaller number 5. Thank you for that dream. That wraps the dream call portion of the show, and we've been so lucky to have you on the call tonight. Blessings to the dreamer and the dream until next time. Okay, listeners, thank you to Canada, our Canadian dream caller, for calling in with, wow, such a whammy of a dream. There's nothing like opening a dream share with, I'm sentenced to a life in prison. And as per usual, I'm left a little bit speechless. For now, I'm going to go to bed. And I'm going to imagine the city as self, that map that Jung did offer us as mandala, as a map of the self. Anything that has a concentric, mandala-like circular form. And a lot of those medieval cities, unlike the grid, they're built in a concentric shape. So the center of the city, likely a temple or a fountain, really is the center, the psychic center of the community. Let me just say, we do not have that in LA. I am not saying that's why the Lakers are losing so badly this year, but it could be. We don't know. We do not know. But to get back to the point, I'm going to go to bed with that image of the concentric circle as self and try to imagine myself as close to the center of it as I can. The morning after. It's a brand new day here at the Dolphin House, and I cannot believe the clairvoyance that comes after a night of raving with you all. Because, listeners, my mind is blown. Have you noticed before that the word sentence, like a sentence in a book, is the same word as, say, a life sentence in prison? And we have to pay attention to this because the dream opens with the phrase, I'm sentenced to a life in prison. And then we have this book And the dolphins in their dreaming mirror say, and I quote, "The sentence which you thought you knew surprises you." Unquote. Okay, if that wasn't enough, and I hope the implications of that isn't lost on you all, that the idea that the judgment or the sentence against self and that which is written, something can be changed, the destiny can spin. But what it depends on in the dream, and I would suggest for all of us in the life, is this next part, which gets even cooler. Stay with me. Because if you go back and listen to that first page of the novel in which the author read to us.
In the middle of this life, I find myself in Washington, D.C. I had just finished lunch with the director of the Central Intelligence Agency, and I was walking back to my apartment near DuPont Circle.
Did you guys catch that? There are 3 references to a circular shape in that opening line. Number 1, out the gates, he says, "In the middle of this life." Did you notice the word middle? Number 2, the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. Did you notice the word central? Number 3, this is the craziest one. He's walking to his home in DuPont Circle. Look up DuPont Circle. It's basically a city made of a mandala. If you were to take that and put it over the dream, it would work. How Inception is this? And what's the takeaway from our dear Canadian dreamcaller for all of us? That we gotta get back to the center of the mandala, because that's where the home is, that's where the rave is, and that's where that tender boy is that's gonna pass us the book, which potentially contains a brand new sentence that pivots the life and pivots the storyline. And if you're like, Kimmy K, I have no idea what you're talking about right now. You lost me way back at the rave. Then I love you. We all love you. Mars and Porsha are so stoked. They think the whole world is a flower rave with a beautiful center that's fertile and infinite. So, if you're stressed by all these maps and everything, this outro is for you. Love you all so much. See you next time at midnight. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause dolphins at midnight. Don't you worry about a single thing, 'cause dolphins